Thanks everybody for coming. For those of you I have not met yet, my name is Chief Tom Friel. I have the privilege of leading the 42 dedicated individuals of the Morton Grove Fire Department. So thank you once again for coming. I'd like to take an opportunity and introduce everybody who's around us today, if you haven't already met them. Sitting to my left is State Fire Marshal Matt Perez. He was gracious enough to come to our little recognition today in honor of Fire Prevention Month. Matt comes to us originally from an extensive career in Aurora, but I'll have Mayor DiMaria expound on that here in a little bit. To my right, everybody knows Mayor Dan DiMaria, Mayor of Morton Grove. Thanks for coming, Mayor. To his right, State Representative Laura Fine. Thank you for taking time out of your day. And we have to our left, Mr. Joe Ahern. We'll let Joe and explain Joe here in a little bit, along with his guest sitting to his left, LeVar, and I'm sorry I missed your last name. Morel. Thank you. And then to his left is, everybody knows, Chief Ralph, or now Village Administrator Ralph Serwinski. Thanks for coming, Ralph. Also, thank you to retired Chicago Chief George and his sidekick Brady for coming and helping us out. If you haven't already had an opportunity to take advantage of some photos with the fire engine and Brady, Captain George is more than willing to accommodate everybody, so we'll have some time here at the end. It should be fairly quick, and please take all the photos you like. A number of weeks ago, when I found out that the State Fire Marshal would be available to come visit us, I thought to myself, what's an appropriate message to this individual who leads our state interests in fire prevention here during Fire Prevention Month? I figured the last thing you needed, Matt, was another tour of another fire station. So you won't get that today. But I did want to, as long as you are a willing captive, I did want to spread a little bit of Morton Grove's story in terms of fire prevention and what it means to us. We represent a community of approximately 24,000 residents in approximately 8,000 households. The strength of our fire response and preventative efforts lies in our partnerships. And that's really the theme that I had hoped to bring in front of everybody today in recognition of Fire Prevention Month. To pursue and support the mission of fire response and prevention set by the State Fire Marshal, we couldn't do it without the partners that you see in this room today. First, the elected officials. I think it's obvious that both the Mayor, Representative Fine, Representative Lang, who I hope can join us here in a little bit, these are the individuals that are charged with keeping the promise of the security of our residents and businesses. They get out there, they promise to support the efforts to keep things secure from a fire prevention standpoint, and we have to deliver. So we appreciate your support at all levels, both state as well as local. Our partners in law enforcement, I'd like to give a shout out to Mike Simo, our police chief, who's here today with his command staff. Thinking about the message of fire prevention, what does that have to do with law enforcement? We go back to the State Fire Marshal's mission of not only fire prevention, but arson response and prevention. Our local police department are unmatched partners for us in that regard here too, so thank you very much. Our mutual and auto aid partners. I put the arm on the people that we work with day in and day out. If you notice, the Niles Fire Department is here today under the leadership of Chief Steve Barkowski. Thank you for coming, and their latest apparatus is parked and blocking Cali Avenue here, if you notice. So thank you for coming. We couldn't take our message of prevention and response to Morton Grove without the partnership from you, Steve. So thank you to your people. Along with that, you'll notice some big orange trucks outside too, and some handsome guys in some lime green uniforms. Well, these are our public works individuals and partners in fire prevention. Why? Here in Morton Grove, our robust utility system, obviously our water system, is supported by our Public Works Department. So whether it's a fixed sprinkler system or actual fire attack, we couldn't do it without the guys here in the ugly lime green stuff. So we appreciate your partnership too. Thank you. Then lastly, after we break from our short remarks here today, we're going to take the fire marshal up to NIPSDA, and he's going to become at least a short partner in our regular business meeting of our MABUS Division 3 chiefs. MABUS, the Mutual Aid Box Alarm System, is that a network of fire departments that we utilize when one particular community is overwhelmed by a particular incident. So we're going to take the fire marshal up to NIPSDA here in about an hour or so, and let 17 fire chiefs from the area communities discuss their concerns and the message with you, Fire Marshal. So again, thank you. And I would also have to give a shout out to Red Center, our regional emergency dispatch. Red Center, as the fire marshal knows, is in charge of our statewide disaster dispatch response. They're located in Northbrook. We have been a longtime partner with Red Center in their efforts to coordinate disaster response throughout the state of Illinois. So again, thank you for Red. They unfortunately could not be with us today. However, the model that I'm speaking of, the partnership model, is nothing new. This has been a time-tested model that has been supported by my counterparts for years before me, one of which is sitting at the front table here. Ralph Srwinski was a leader in that regard also when he had the reins. But this extends all the way back into the 1960s and 70s, as the fire marshal knows. So it's nothing new. It's something that we continue to reinforce, something that we continue to support here in Morton Grove, and I'm very proud of that part of our mission. With that, I'd like to introduce everybody here today for some short remarks from the State Fire Marshal. Before we do that, I'd like to introduce Mayor Dan DiMaria. There can't be a public gathering without the mayor coming up and having a few remarks, but the mayor is tasked with introducing the State Fire Marshal. So if you would, Mayor, please.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Good morning, everybody, and obviously we want to thank you from the bottom of Morton Grove's heart for coming out here, for all the people in the fire industry. Now you're seeing what the #1 fire department in Illinois looks like, so if you want the tour, I take the tour, because we're #1 and everybody else is #2 or below. Today I'm happy to welcome our public safety professionals, our local state representatives. Lou Lang's not able to attend, it looks like, but I do want to introduce again Laura Fine. I always say Laura's one of the good ones down there. I know a lot of people are not happy with Springfield, but I can tell you just in my dealings with Laura, she's a fantastic representative for the district and also for Morton Grove, and I want to thank you, Laura. I know it's not an easy job. Again, I want to welcome Illinois State Fire Marshal Matt Perez. Fire Marshal Perez is here today because October, as Tom said, is Fire Prevention Month. This year's theme is Hear the Beep Where You Sleep. Every bedroom needs a working smoke alarm. This is an important message for Morton Grove. We did a proclamation about this at our last meeting. Illinois State Fire Marshal Matthew Perez has nearly 30 years of experience in safety. Before beginning his career in the fire service, Mr. Perez worked for 2 years as a patrol officer in the Kane County Sheriff's Department. He holds a bachelor's degree in fire service management from Southern Illinois University. He joined the Aurora Fire Department as a firefighter in 1987. During his 27 years with the department, he became certified as a paramedic and rose to the rank of assistant chief. In his former role as fire marshal for the city of Aurora, he was the supervisor of the city's fire prevention bureau and the assistant chief of the Aurora Fire Department. Throughout his time as Aurora's fire marshal, Mr. Perez has developed an extensive knowledge of fire prevention strategy and fire safety codes. This year's theme of Fire Prevention Month is Here to Beep Where You Sleep. This reflects the ongoing effort to ensure that all residents maintain operating smoke detectors throughout their homes. And I would remind people that the clocks are changing, and as they always say, it's a great time to change your batteries and to test your batteries. So without further ado, and I'll shut up, I do want to introduce, and I'm pleased to welcome State Fire Marshal Matt Perez.
Thank you all for coming. Thank all you firemen and policemen for what you do. Public Works can't do it without you guys, right? Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Chief. Thanks for the representatives from the other organizations that are here. Everybody's here to draw attention to public safety in Fire Prevention Month, correct? As those before me have said, October is an important month. It's a month in fire prevention which, if taken seriously, can save your life and the life of your family members. There are many steps you can take to prevent fires, including taking a few seconds to evaluate your surroundings. Do not leave candles burning unattended. Be attentive when cooking. And as it gets colder, making sure you're careful where you put your space heaters. But the absolute most important thing you can do is make sure that you have working smoke detectors in your house. The facts on smoke detectors are clear. They work. They alert those inside that there's a fire or the threat of a fire. Fires happen in 1 out of every 320 homes. Half of those fires happen when the people are sleeping. Smoke detectors wake them and give them a chance to get out. Nationally, these fires accounted for 2,775 fire deaths, and 12,200 civilian injuries in 2013 alone. Since the late 70s, we have been able to cut the number of fire deaths and fires in half through education, legislation, and enforcement, but these numbers are still too high as they exist. As a state fire marshal, I have had the pleasure of meeting with people and firefighters in every corner of the state. Before that, I spent 27 years with the Aurora Fire Department, where I dealt with the devastation of fatal fires firsthand. Believe me, there is no worse feeling than not being able to get to someone in time when they need your help. I can confidently tell you that we have the best firefighters in the nation here in Illinois. They're passionate, well-trained, and they'll be here for you when you need them. Here's the thing, I don't want you to need them. They don't want you to need them either. Preventing a fire is much easier, safer, and cheaper than putting the fire out. When I was riding on the fire trucks in Aurora, I thought the best fires were the ones where everything went well. We forced entry, searched, vented the house, put the fire out, and salvaged the people's belongings best we could, and everyone went home safe. As I moved on in fire prevention, I realized the best fires were the ones that never happened due to prevention. We will be here for you no matter what, but try to be as proactive as possible. Check your smoke detectors and fire alarms, make sure they are working, and be attentive to your surroundings. Public safety has been my focus for the majority of my life. I love the fire service, and I love the firefighters that I've worked with. We're all brothers, right? Never goes away. I'll continue to work for you as State Fire Marshal, and will do my best to make sure that we continue to be as prepared as possible to face anything that may come our way. Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Fire Marshal Perez. We've talked now about our partners in prevention and response. There's one more valuable partner that I'd like to point out. We are very fortunate here in the Cook County and Lake County area to have leveraged a private partnership with a very special organization, the 100 Club of Chicago. Don't let that name fool you. The 100 Club of Chicago has reached far into the lives of first responders, much past the borders of the city itself, into Cook County as well as Lake County. We're fortunate to have a representative here today, Joe Ahern, the president of that organization. I would like to introduce Mr. Ahern to deliver his message of partnership with our first responders in their time of need also. Mr. Ahern.
Thanks, Chief. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, the platform. Mayor and State Rep Fine and Ralph has become a friend and one of our 100 Club family members, LeVar Morrell. LeVar's dad was a fire chief lieutenant in Chicago and sadly lost his life and had 3 sons. And LeVar is one of our beneficiaries, having gone to Knox College, graduated with a degree in sports journalism, and just graduated from DePaul University with a graduate degree in sports journalism. So he's going to be the next Jim Rose or Marchie and Greco, I think, pretty soon. So it's great to have you here. And then Chief George and Brady, great. He's our mascot for the 100 Club. Let me tell you, I'm going to assume that not everybody knows what the 100 Club, how it started and how we got our name. But in 1952, a Pontiac car dealer in Detroit read about a police officer who had been shot and killed in the line of duty, and his wife was going to lose her home. She couldn't pay the mortgage. He went and paid off the mortgage and paid all of the debt. And a month later, another police officer got shot and killed in Detroit. This same Pontiac car dealer reached out to a buddy of his who was another successful car dealer and said, we got to help these families. And so they reached out to 100 people. And that's how the name came about, 100 in 1952, a long time ago. So if you fast forward to today, there's 126 chapters all over the country. And they're small mom and pop 501c3 charitable organizations made up of people and corporations, foundations, of people who have a heart for policemen, firemen, and the families that are left behind when one loses their life. And that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years, since 2010. And the 100 Club in Chicago got started in 1966. We've been around for 49 years. We've lost 258 police officers, firefighters, and paramedics. So when anyone in state, local, federal law enforcement in Cook County or Lake County loses their life in the line of duty, then I show up representing the 100 Club and give the surviving spouse $50,000 immediately. And there's no forms to fill out. There's no bureaucracy. I just show up and the next day and say, we're here from the 100 Club family and we're going to help your family. And that's the way it should be. And we started a university partnership program, and now we have 17 universities giving 2 full scholarships each to sons and daughters of police officers and firefighters who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Right now we have 23 kids in college. That when I tell people that we're changing lives, that's not an exaggeration with this organization, what we're doing. It's the most gratifying thing I've ever done in my whole life. And frankly, I'm glad to be able to get the word out to you, because next year we celebrate our 50th anniversary. And sadly, the work continues. You know, in 2012, we lost 2 firefighters, Captain Herbie Johnson and Walter Patman. And we lost Corey Yankum and Stringer in 2010. But that continues, and I get up every day and I read the news like you do, and I think the world's upside down. You can't believe that it could get any worse. But because we have courageous men and women in fire service and the police department that are putting their lives on the line every single day for all of us, that's what gets me up in the morning, and I can get up with some confidence that, the world's okay. Tom reminded me that we really survive. The sustainability of this organization is we don't get any state or federal funds, and it's really through the generosity. This is my new 100 Club handshake. I walk around like this all the time. And so in order for us to sustain what we do, and we've averaged over the last 49 years 5 fatalities a year, sadly. And for us to continue, that's what I do, is raise money and raise awareness. So I hope that you'll tell your friends and colleagues and extended family if you could consider supporting the 100 Club. You can go on our website, it's 100clubchicago.org. Law enforcement firefighters are $50 a year, and then we start memberships from $50 up. But we don't ask a police officer or a firefighter's family if they're a member. We just show up and help. And that's the way it should be. But thank you so much. thank you for all that you do. You know, people ask me, I spent 48 years in the media and television business. I had run ABC and CBS. And people ask me if I missed the television business. And I tell them, you know what, I haven't missed it one day since I've left. I finally got honest work, I tell people. But I wish everybody could get up every day and feel as good as I do about what they're doing in life, is to help the families of police officers and firefighters and their families that are left behind, because it's the most gratifying thing that I've ever done. And thanks for your time.
Well, thank you. The only thing left for me today is, on behalf of the first responders of the Village of Morton Grove, we thank the 100 Club for your efforts, Joe. And LeVar, we're very gratified to be just a minuscule part of your life in that regard also. I'd like to conclude our formal portion of our time together with thanking all of you for your unwavering support in our ongoing mission. Thank you to the elected officials, the Fire Marshal, thank you for coming. Mr. Ahern, LeVar, Captain George, and Brady, thank you. I've left the best for last, in that I also need to acknowledge the local folks that support us every day. We have two village trustees in the audience. Trustee John Thill, can you wave at everybody? Trustee Thill. And longtime supporter of the fire department and being our liaison for many years, Trustee Bill Greer. I'd have Bill stand up, or else they won't be able to see you, Trustee Greer. For those of you that do not know, a number of months ago, if you recall, in far west suburban Fox Lake, one of our first responders was tragically lost in the line of duty. Joe Glinowitz. Just recently, a team of Morton Grove firefighters and police officers took it upon themselves to have a charity pancake breakfast, in which more than $6,000 was raised in support of the family of Officer Glinowitz. So we're very proud of that, and once again, thank you for those efforts. And the last thing that remains is for me to take a selfish moment and thank my local staff, my command staff, district chiefs, as well as Captain Bill Porter, who is on the front lines every day of fire prevention here in Morton Grove. And he's another guy that you might miss, but he's standing up in the back there. So thank you, Bill, for your fire prevention efforts. We appreciate that. And no, Fire Marshal Perez, you can't have Bill. He's going to stay right here. With that, as you can tell, we've run through our course here. We do have some refreshments. Please stay with us. Feel free to mingle. Meet LeVar if you can, if you haven't already. And if we could impose upon the folks up here at the front table, as well as uniformed personnel, to file in front of the big red shiny fire engine here, and we're going to take a couple of group photos if you don't mind. Thank you.